Hello everyone, it's Nick Lawson with CDC Take Charge Software, and this is lesson 5 on building a King James Bible reader in Alpha software. As I mentioned at the end of our last session, we would discuss today the bookmark manager and how that fits into the entire application. First, from our calendar, we've added the King James Bible bookmark reader right here, so that you can click to it and go directly to it. There you go. Oh, actually I brought up the wrong one. Let's close it and go back. There you go, my bookmarks. Okay, now when you take and build the Bible verses that you want in the reader and then you bookmark them, it brings it over here where it displays all the bookmarks in a list so that you can scroll through and find them. We'll add some different buttons to this as time goes on, and it prints everything that was in the reader in this top memo field. Then it has a rich text field that allows you to enter notes and what the bookmarks mean to you. So that's pretty much it. And of course you can edit it and save it. You can export your selection to an email or to your personal journal or your daily reminders, whatever it is that you want to use it for. And you can print travel copies. Alright, now when you are in the actual reader, in order to take and bookmark a selection, let's say we got the book of Genesis and we're going to display that entire thing, and for some reason we wanted to bookmark that. All we have to do is click it. It goes out and asks you for a name, which is what it displays in the browse on the left, and then copies everything over and stores it in the other table. It's very simple, so there's really not a lot to go over there. However, in deciding to do that, I thought that it would be a nice feature to be able to take and build that list of verses that you want to bookmark in a more comprehensive way than we're currently doing. So what I've done is I've added a range to our volume selection. When you select range, it comes over here and it basically tells you what to do. Now what I've done here is I have not written all the code because I want you guys to try and do the final part yourself, but what I've done is written a framework on how the code would work and the branching needed to make it happen. So for example, if we type in a book and we go Mark, okay, there you go. Now if I click run, what it will do is return just the book of Mark. And what I've done, I'm going to run it so you can see what happens. So I've created a little pop-up that says that I'm pulling back the entire book. Okay. Now under Mark, if I put in a range for chapters and I click run, so when you do the first range, it sets in the ending range automatically. Then of course the user can change it. But if we do the run now, it says book and chapter BC. Alright, if I change this to 16 and run it, book chapter range. So it'll bring back the bookmark chapters 1 through 16. Pretty interesting so far. So now let's take and come over here and we put in a verse. So we're doing 05 to 05 and we run it. So now it says it's going to bring back the bookmark chapters 01 to 016, but in chapter 16 it's only going to return verse 5. It's pretty interesting. If I change this to 12 and run it, now it brings back the bookmark chapter range 01 to 16 and verse range 05 to 12. Pretty cool. Alright, we got a couple more options. Let's change this back to 01 and run it. Now it's book and chapter verses 5 through 12. Pretty cool. So that's a pretty sophisticated search engine for a person reading the Bible, and it's something that's easy for them to understand. Let's take a look at the framework, like I said, on how that's done. So I'm going to bring that up. Let me close this. And okay, first, when you take and depart from the beginning chapter, it sets the value for the ending chapter automatically. Of course, it says if each chapter is blank, then set it to the beginning chapter. If it's not blank, we don't want you to overwrite what the user has already put in there. So we leave it alone. The same thing happens down here on verse. Now when we go to run it, this is what takes place. First we commit our form. Then basically when we're on the form, we're building from the book down. When we're writing the code, we're building from the verse up. So you have if book verse, or if beginning verse is less than any verse and beginning chapter equals ending chapter, then pop up to use your message box, book, chapter, verse range. We saw that happen. Else if book beginning verse equals ending verse and book chapter equals ending chapter, then we want to pop up book chapter verse. Else if beginning verse is less than any verse and beginning chapter is less than any chapter, then the answer is book, chapter range, verse range. Else if beginning verse equals ending verse and beginning chapter is less than any chapter, then it's book, chapter range, verse. Pretty straightforward. Then we come down to the next part. If Bible verse is empty, then if book chapter is empty, then display book. Otherwise, we're working in the chapter section. So if book chapter is less than each chapter, we want to display book and chapter range. If book beginning chapter equals ending chapter, we want to display book and chapter. That's it. Pretty simple way to take and manage that. Now all you guys have to do is insert the code that would actually pull the proper verses from the appropriate table, either books, chapters, or verses, and populate our reader on our reader form. Okay, folks, I hope you have fun giving that a try. In the blog, it tells you to take and send me an email that will show me your answer. I will be happy to debug it for you and show you where you're right or wrong as you send them to me. Thanks a lot and have a great day.